Hi, advanced researchers. Welcome to your next assignment. So we're going to start the process of finding a research mentor. So this is really important, and it's going to require a little bit of time, and it's also going to involve maybe a little bit of rejection. So that's kind of hard to deal with sometimes. So to minimize that, we're going to do a lot of preparation up front to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward. So the first thing that you guys are going to do is review some examples and some advice about how to find folks who might be good research mentors. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to watch a video that Ms. Lassiter made about finding researchers at local universities. And then you're going to answer this little hypothetical question here. It asks you to create a flowchart to show how the student would go about finding somebody who might be a good mentor for them. So a flowchart, if you guys remember, is going to be little pieces that are your steps in your process that are kind of connected in arrows and graphically displayed. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. I'll explain more. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to read an article published by Science News, which is published by Society for Science in the Public, which is the organization that runs the International Science and Engineering Fair. And it goes through the experience that some students had finding research mentors. All right. The next thing you need to keep in mind is who you guys are looking for for a research mentor. Goodness. All right, so you are looking for somebody who conducts research in the same field that your interests lie in. So if I want to do research into psychology, then I need to look for somebody who studies psychology. I probably don't want to look for a clinical psychologist. Or somebody who sees people for behavioral counseling. So keep in mind, so you're going to need to include these things, like what you're looking for from your mentor, in your email to them. So you are looking for them to provide suggestions of papers for you to read so that you can develop a strong background in the topic. This will also help you write your literature review. You're looking for guidance in creating or coming up with your research question. You're going to ask them to edit and review both your literature review as well as the write-up of your final project. You're going to also ask them to help you develop the methods that you're going to use to actually conduct your study and to analyze your data, so that you are making sure you're keeping with the conventions of the field that you have chosen. All right, so here's a list of some potential ideas of places to look for potential mentors. The biggest suggestion that I have for you guys in this is leverage your connections. So people who know you or who are maybe like a friend of a friend are way more likely to say yes and agree to be your mentor than somebody that you have never met in your entire life. So if there are family friends or maybe a cousin or an uncle or an aunt, or just other people that you already know in your community, like from activities you do, so maybe like a parent of a teammate on your soccer team, or a friend your family has made through going to church, or something like that. These people are much more likely to say yes to your request for help. So leverage those connections. Don't be afraid to ask people that you already know for help. And then again, well, not again. So another thing you need to keep in mind is to be open to kind of shifting your research path a little bit, depending on what your mentor's area of expertise is, because they're going to be able to provide the most help to you in the area that they are an expert. So keep that in mind when you are reviewing their web pages and reading their publications, and make sure that you are picking people who are kind of in line with your particular interests. So for example, I'm interested in ecology, but specifically I'm interested in aquatic ecology and aquatic ecology in disturbed streams. And so I probably shouldn't be looking for somebody who does like large animal ecology in the African savanna. I want to be looking for somebody who studies, aquatic insects in urban streams that are typically disturbed. And then the last piece of two more pieces of advice. If you want the potential of maybe down the road, if you form a good relationship with your mentor, of reaching out and saying like, hey, could I do research in your lab in person over the summer? You want to make sure that they are local, because it's going to be really difficult for you to go or find funding to go and do research in somebody's lab in, like, I don't know, Colorado. And then working with commercial companies is probably not the best idea for this type of project, just because they have a lot of limitations on how and where data can be shared and who owns the data, and that sort of thing. So I would say working with somebody who works for a nonprofit or a public entity is probably best in this, or an academic research. So all right, so keeping all that in mind, you guys are going to now create a list of 3 potential mentors. Again, I highly recommend leveraging your connections, but if you don't have that many people that you know who are, researchers in a topic that you're interested in, then you will try your luck cold contacting these folks. So you will, watch this Finding Local Labs video and find some people in local research universities or museums and reach out to them. So after you have kind of a list of potential people, the first thing you need to do is to look up some of their more recent publications. You need to find at least one, but if you have time, reading 2 or 3 of their publications will go a long way. And will be a little bit more impressive to them, to show that you've kind of done your homework, so to speak, and literally done your homework. So again, you want to look for a primary research article that they have published. If you need help accessing any of the articles that you find, follow these directions and let me know. I'll be glad to help you. All right, so down here, you're going to make your list of 3 potential mentors. Right now, we're going to focus on this potential mentor 1. I want you to have the names and titles and lab websites of all 3 folks, but then just for now, we're going to fill in all of this information for potential mentor 1. So you're going to read at least one of their recent papers, summarize what the findings were in maybe like 2 to 5 sentences or so, and then ideally read maybe 1 more or 2 more papers of theirs as well. Then you are going to draft an email. Down below here there is a sample email. You guys are welcome to take as much of this language as you would like, but I would also recommend kind of putting your own spin on it and making it sound like you. So you're going to draft an email in this space below here for the first researcher. So you're going to introduce yourself, explain why you're reaching out to them, and ask if they're willing to be your mentor. In this, you also need to sell yourself. So you need to put your best foot forward. You need to explain what skills you have, what courses you've taken that are going to be relevant to conducting research in this field. After you have completed the draft of the email, you're going to submit the assignment. I'm going to give you feedback on your email, and then after I give you feedback and you edit it, then you're going to send this email to them, and you are going to make sure that you copy me on this email, and I will follow up with a recommendation on your behalf. Unfortunately, in this process, especially if you are cold contacting people, the most likely reply that they're going to give you is no. People are really busy, and we need to be understanding of that. So if you happen to get a no as a response, or if you don't get a reply within 1 week, then you're going to send another email following up and thanking this person for their time. And if they didn't recommend contacts or people that could possibly be a mentor, then you're going to ask them again and say like, hey, I understand you can't do this, but would you happen to have any colleagues or any PhD students who might be willing to serve as a mentor for me? And then you're going to repeat this process. If you get a yes, that's awesome. And then we will go ahead and move on in the next steps and arrange a meeting with them. So if you get a no and you need to move on and come up with your second draft email, then you're going to go back and you're going to fill in all of this information for potential mentor 2. So that means you should already have their name and title, and you should already have their lab website, but then you're going to go back and you're going to fill in these details about their education and where their lab is, and also, most importantly, the paper that you're going to read. All right, and then you'll draft a second email and paste that here. Submit the assignment again, or send me an email and let me know to go look at it again, and I'll edit it. You'll make those revisions and we'll send it on out. So just a little bit of a heads up, this could be a time-consuming process, so be aware of that, and make sure that you are budgeting your time wisely. The thing that you're going to need to do in the first week is send your first email, and then from that point on, it's going to be a little bit of a waiting game, and our timelines are going to kind of get a little bit loosey-goosey here. All right, let me know if you guys have questions, and good luck.